Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today we're diving into what Web3 is all about, the decentralized internet that's calling the shots for the future.
Yeah. All right. So Web3, right? What exactly does that mean in layman's terms?
Well, imagine the internet evolving like a giant library. Initially, Web 1 was a quiet library with only a few
Mm-hmm.
huge publishers, right? You could read the stuff they put out, but there was no participation.
So like a one-way street?
Exactly. Then came Web 2, a bustling hub where everyone got to contribute. It's like that library suddenly transformed into a lively social hub where blogs, social media, and all that jazz made you a creator. But even then, a few big players were like the head librarians controlling what went on.
Right. And now we have Web3, right? How does that change the whole picture?
Yeah, so Web3 basically flips the script. Imagine that library turning into a decentralized public square where no single entity is in charge. Everyone gets to contribute, control, and even benefit. Thanks to blockchain technology, your contributions become securely stored
Yep.
and truly yours.
That sounds super democratic, but also a bit chaotic. How does the technology actually make that work?
Well, it uses a set of core components. First up is blockchain. Think of it as a digital ledger that's shared across a network, ensuring that once something is written, it's almost impossible to alter without changing the whole chain.
Mm-hmm.
It secures every bit of data, keeping things, tamper-proof.
And then we've got cryptocurrencies as the backbone of this whole decentralized economy, correct?
Exactly. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether work as digital cash. They're self-registered and use cryptography to secure transactions. That's central to enabling trustless interactions. No banks or intermediaries needed.
Right on. Interesting. And what about these smart contracts we keep hearing about?
Oh, smart contracts are really the automation magic behind Web3. Think of them like it's like a vending machine. You put in a coin and bam, you get your soda. These contracts automatically execute when predefined conditions are met. No
Mm-hmm.
need for a middleman, which makes them not only efficient but also transparent.
That is really cool. But I know that Web3 isn't just about finance. There's talk about decentralized apps and even decentralized organizations. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure, decentralized applications, or dApps, run on the blockchain instead of centralized servers. They can be found in various areas, like finance, gaming, even social media. The idea is to give users full control over their data and interactions. It's like um, shift from a closed system to one that's truly open and user driven.
Yeah, absolutely. And decentralized autonomous organizations or DAOs, how do they fit into this picture? Right, but isn't that a bit idealistic? What about the challenges?
Good point. There are significant challenges too. For one, scalability is a huge issue. Imagine a busy freeway. If more cars or users hit it, congestion happens, increasing costs and slowing things down. Some networks are working on this by boosting transaction speeds, but it's still a tough nut to crack.
That makes sense. And what about, say, adoption? It seems revolutionary, but still, not everyone's on board yet.
Exactly. It's like a promising new restaurant with great food but limited seating. Awareness is still building, and many people find the sign up process and the overall complexity a bit intimidating. There's also this whole notion of self custody. If you lose your private key,
Uh
you
huh.
could lose access to everything. That's not something traditional banking offers.
Yeah, the risk of, say, forgetting your key is a real downside. And what about regulatory concerns? With all this decentralized freedom, how do authorities fit in?
Regulators are definitely playing catch up here. They want to prevent illegal activities like fraud and money laundering without stifling innovation. It's a tightrope walk, ensuring user protection while not choking the potential of Web3.
Right. That makes me wonder. Do you think Web3 will eventually replace Web2 entirely? Or will it just complement it?
That's a good question. I'd say it's more of an evolution. Web3 is designed to overcome some inherent limitations of Web2, like centralized control and poor data ownership. But until it scales reliably and becomes more user friendly, It's likely to coexist. It's an integration, sort of merging the best of both worlds at this point.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Now, looking at real-world examples, weren't there some interesting moves in the social media space involving Web3?
Definitely. For example, Twitter in 2021 let users link cryptocurrency wallets to their accounts, even allowing verified NFTs as profile pictures. This bridged traditional social media with Web3's capabilities, making decentralized identity aspects more accessible.
Yeah, I remember that. So it's like users are starting to own their online identity, not leaving it at the mercy of these tech giants.
Exactly. And that ties in perfectly with decentralized identity management. Instead of having one centralized repository of your data, you're back in the driver's seat deciding what to share and with whom. It's freedom in the truest sense, but not without its own set of learning
Right,
curves and
absolutely.
risk factors.
That sounds like a game changer for privacy and user empowerment.
It is, but let's not get ahead of ourselves without acknowledging the ongoing challenges. Besides scalability and adoption, there's also the issue of interoperability. Different blockchain networks need to talk to each other seamlessly for a truly integrated experience. Some progress is being made, like with Polkadot and others working on cross-chain communication, but it's a work
Uh-huh.
in progress.
I guess it's like building a multilingual world where, you know, everyone eventually understands each other.
Exactly, it's like needing a universal translator in a way, ensuring smooth transfers of data and assets across various systems. And then there's the added layer of AI integration. As AI becomes more adept, it could further automate and secure these decentralized systems, making user interfaces even more
Yep,
seamless.
that's a fair point. Now, a quick critique. Some argue that the promise of total decentralization could lead to increased complexity for the average user. What's your take on that?
I can see that concern. It's true that the responsibility of managing your own data and keys might be daunting. However, with time, user-friendly tools and more intuitive interfaces should bridge that gap. Think of it as the evolution from command line interfaces to graphical user interfaces. Bit by bit, it becomes more
Mhm,
accessible.
exactly. So essentially, early adopters will navigate the steep learning curve, paving the way for mainstream applications in the future.
Yes, that's the idea. The current challenges are analogous to the growing pains of any nascent technology. As the ecosystem matures, we can expect innovations that simplify interactions without sacrificing decentralization or
Right, that
security.
makes sense. And speaking of future innovations, what are some of the exciting prospects that Web3 holds for us?
There are several bright possibilities. For instance, tighter interoperability among blockchains, further AI integration that automates processes, and even new governance models through evolved DAOs. Imagine a voting system or even supply chain management being revolutionized by this technology. It could affect not just the digital space, but many aspects of society.
Yep, that's pretty exciting. Wow, it does sound like Web3 could redefine how we share, consume, and control our digital lives.
Absolutely. It's not just about financial transactions or digital art. It's about reclaiming data ownership, enhancing privacy, and building a more transparent and trustless system
Right, that's
overall.
something to definitely keep an eye on. So, for our listeners who are curious about diving deeper into Web3, what would you say is the most important takeaway?
I'd say the key is to understand that Web3 represents an evolutionary leap for the internet, moving from centralized control to a decentralized user empowered model. While it comes with its challenges, its potential to make the internet more open, secure, and fair is something incredibly
Yeah,
revolutionary.
exactly. Thanks for breaking that down. It's like having a sneak peek into the future of um, the digital ecosystem.
Absolutely. And as more people embrace and build on this technology, we're bound to see significant shifts in not just online interactions, but in the broader societal structures too.
I couldn't agree more. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Web3. It's fascinating to think about where this could take us in the next few years.
Yep, it's been a great discussion. Thanks for the insights and challenges along the way. Stay curious and keep exploring the decentralized future.